Hey everyone, it's Cathy Zielske. Welcome back to my channel and the craft/dining room. Today's card project has been a long time coming. Boop. I've been wanting to do a boop die for a while, so I did it. Today's card project features some ink blending and some more die love and some other cool things. And in the end, we're gonna create a card that sends the boop message. You're gonna have to stick around to the end. If you're new to my channel and you do not know what the boop is, I'm gonna tell you. It's about having fun while you craft, and that, my friends, is what I am all about. There's a light beam. It looks like I got a stripe dyed into my hair. Stick around for my boop card project. That includes the booping. That's with a B. Coming up next. You're the one that I want. Boop, boop, boop. Honey. Here's a look at the products I'll be using today, and I couldn't help myself. I asked Simon, can I please just design a boop? Because sometimes you just need to send someone a card that says, well, it looks like it says poob, but it doesn't. It says boop. And that's the little star of this show. I'm also going to be creating a cool background, and it's going to have this cool detail tapestry pattern. Look at that. Isn't that cool? I'm going to be trimming it down because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I'll show you the colors here. I'm just going to take a little rainbow of inks to create a nice little background to die cut this. And then I might end up cutting the boop out of some silver metallic cardstock, but I will be ink blending on some Neenah Solar White Classic Crest. And of course, I will be using all of my wonderful blending brushes from Simon Says Stamp. So those are the basics. Let's get started with ink blending. I'm going to take my red brush and just rub it over a paper towel just to get most of whatever I was using last off, because I put cheeky into the red pink category, and so I think this will be just fine. That's pretty much how I clean my brushes between use when I'm sticking with the same ink family, right? The dye inks from Simon Says Stamp. These are the new Pawsitively saturated inks, and I'm just going to load this brush up, and I'm just going to create a very simple blend. I've got my little stencil mat out here, and this piece of cardstock, of course, is more than I need, but that's how we're going to start it out here. So, and I think I'll just do sort of an angle, because I think an angle would, yeah, it'll be fine. Anything you want to do really, because the texture and the color together are really going to shine. So I'll just do the whole thing like that, so I have plenty to work with. Actually, I guess I could move this out just a little and get that right into the corner. That looks good. Bring in the next color, which is going to be Canteloupe. And get my brush that I last used with oranges. Again, just wipe it off. Every so often, I do clean my brushes, and I use a product called the Masters brush cleaner, which I will be sure to link below. It's a great product for cleaning your brushes, your paint brushes. You could probably use it to clean your makeup brushes too, but it's something you would take to the sink, and then you can also use the nubby side of this. You just run it under water with a brush cleaner and go all over to get all in the bristles, and it'll let you clean your brushes beautifully. But again, I don't do that very often. Just haven't found the need yet. All right, that looks really nice. Now I'm going to come in and use Lemonade. Let's just load this up and bring this color in. And I'm overlapping a little to get a transition. From one color into the next. If you're ever not feeling creative, sitting down and just creating a handful of backgrounds, it's a great way to kind of just be crafty, play with your products, right, and all your wonderful crafty things. And then, you know, maybe you use it for something and maybe you don't, but it's really, well, it's a good way to feel crafty. I'm going to move on to my green. This is Limelicious. Come in from the outside and bring it in. I really love this color. And I'm not blending with too firm a hand, right? I know these inks really smooth out quite a bit when they dry. It's because they have a high viscosity, they stay wet a little longer, and they blend beautifully. I think I'm going to go back over that yellow though. But I'm going to wait until I've got my blue color in. This is Surf. Ink that up. I'm just going to come in from the bottom here and blend up. Again, I'm not using this whole panel, and that's okay. I also like this little, this is the Stencil Mat, but I like this because it also holds your paper, kind of clings to the rubberized surface or whatever this is made out of. And I like that because let's say you were doing this with Distress Oxides, you don't want to leave fingerprints all over your piece. And it's nice to have something that will kind of hold your paper. It gets very clingy. It's the good kind of clingy. Like that. And I'll bring just a bit more of the yellow back in, the Sunbeam. Because sometimes when you're blending, you just look for the areas that might need a little bumping up. And that's what you're going to do. Just bump them up. Bump them up a little. And just keep going until you like the look. Might bring a little more green in too. And let's get that green. All right. Before I die cut this, I'm just going to let it dry a little bit, right? Just kind of, and you can kind of see my fingers. I am leaving marks here. So, all right. I think that looks great. That is going to be the background. So I will let that dry before I die cut this. While that piece is drying, I'm going to go ahead and just break apart my two pieces here. And of course, if you have a pair of wire snips, something like these Beadalons, see how you have that little pointy thingy that you can file those off, or you can also just twist and it comes off pretty nicely with these as well. So I tend to do that when I first get my dies, just so that I don't poke myself. I'm just going to cut a little silver, just a little silver boop. And you know why? Because if we're going to put sequins on this, it kind of has to be silver. And I love this cardstock too. This matte silver cardstock cuts beautifully and looks fantastic when you die cut out of it. It's really wonderful. Well, let's see here. Got the boop, and there is the greeting. Oh, it's just so little. Boop. All right, I'm going to cut out a few more out of some white cardstock to build up a little dimension. I'm not going to cut a shadow layer yet because I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to handle the shadow layer. I might do it in vellum, which would be nice, I think. So I'll go ahead, cut out a few extra layers of this word so I can build up some dimension and glue it all together. So I'll keep cutting these out and I'll be back to glue the pieces together. Next, I'll take some Elmer's Craft Bond spray adhesive, and I'm going to add adhesive to the backs of these off camera in a little box that I keep for doing that sort of thing so that I can glue them all together for some quick dimension on the greeting. I'm going to show you a little tip. If you ever don't get the cleanest cuts, not only can you take some tape and pull them off, but you can take a dull blade. This is my pen blade, which is super, super old, and it's not sharp at all. And you can just kind of scrape. I have to do this sometimes. Sometimes I don't get the best cuts, and it kind of depends on pressure and whatnot. So I'll do a little of this scraping, and you can even see some of those come off. And I just do that to get the cleanest, the cleanest looking die cut possible. And of course, you can also do the whole tape on the back to do what I call de-hairing the die cut, which isn't hair, of course, it's just paper. But so I'll proceed with the adhesive. Then I'll just glue on the layers one at a time. Of course, these little small words are pretty easy to line up. Pop that right in there. that up. There's 3 layers. Bring that in and pop it right on top. Wiggle that serif side into place. And I now have a nice shiny boop with dimension. So I will also place an acrylic block on that and press. Really get those layers to adhere. Next, I'm going to go ahead and cut this panel out. I'm actually going to use my Gemini for this because I don't like to hand crank when it comes to this size. So I'm just going to take a little tape. This is kind of cute. Look at this little rainbow cloud tape. I kind of love this. It's very happy and cheery in my craft room. But I'm just going to get this, you know, sandwiched to the best of my ability. Pop a little tape down like this. Hold that in place, and I'll go ahead and cut this panel out on my die cut machine, but that will be on my Gemini, which I keep off camera. So I thought I'd bring the plate over here so we can see how it looks. I've been doing this sandwich that I learned about from Jennifer McGuire where I'm using these 3D plates. One of my plates came untaped, but let's see. Oh my, look at that. Oh, it didn't quite go through. Now that's the thing. I probably could have used a shim here, but here's the good news. I'm not using the whole panel, so that's okay. I think that could have used a shim, but look at the little detailed pattern in there. It's so delicate, and that's exactly what I wanted. Also, I just wanted to show you, I had something on my plate, and it put a little tiny blip in there. You know, that happens. You always have to make sure that your cutting plates are clean, and this one is starting to look like a hot mess. But what I'll do next is I'm just gonna frame this out. I'm gonna be cutting into this plate, and this plate is a mess. It's almost in need of being replaced, but it has definitely kept my plates from warping quite as fast. So I'll go cut this out and be right back. I'm gonna make a card base for this project, and it will be a US A2. Top folding, of course, my favorite kind to make. And when this folds down, it will measure 4 1/4 wide by 5 1/2 tall. Give that a nice press. So that's the card base. Here is the panel. Now you can see I've already added foam tape to the back. And in fact, I might as well pop this on because what I'm not sure of we'll deal with shortly, but I am sure of this, and that is it's going to go right down onto this card base. Just stand up over the top and look at that. Look at that gorgeous, what is that, about 1/2 inch of framing margin space. It just makes everything so crisp. Isn't that pretty? And of course, when you get in close, you see that little texture that we have. Now the question is as follows. We have our greeting, our little silver boop. And actually, I kind of love that just as is. There's some options, and I may do a sub-greeting too. So would we like to have a white shadow layer, right, for the connection, right, for the visual connection, shadow layer, card base, okay, and that's not lined up perfectly. Or do we like the idea of vellum so that we can see through? Now, it's so funny. Every time I try to use vellum, I back off from it because I don't, like, if it's going to be a contrast, go for the contrast. And really, there's not so much to see in the background. You know what? I think I'm going with this. I just like to have contrast and repetition in card designs. But what I don't know yet is, do I want to have a sub-greeting? For the meantime, I'm just going to grab my Barely Art glue because of this nice little tip. And where are my tweezers? I'm going to go, now I could do this with spray adhesive too, but sometimes I just think it's just as easy to add a little glue. Just want to make sure that's flowing. I'm just going to add it to the back of the boop. I know I've really shown a lot of restraint in this video so far by not saying boop too much because I don't want to overdo it. You don't want to oversell the boop, or do you? I use 2 liquid glues. I use Connect glue and I use this glue. And sometimes I think each one has a point and a purpose. And I think that's normal for crafters to kind of get into their wheelhouses and figure out which adhesives they like best. But now I'm just going to take this off for a second so I can line that serif up right on the shadow, like that. And how do we look there? Oh, little wiggle. But see, you just center the serif slabs of the serifs, who am I, and press. I've started designing my word and shadow layers with a bigger, more generous margin. Not only does it save money, I believe, in the production, but it also makes it easier and really gives you that nice frame. Looks great, and that's in position. Now, the reason I like it like this is because I can pop this up easier. I've got some thin foam squares here, and I guess I'll just pop a few down. I was going to use a bigger one, but I can't seem to find any right now. I'm a little low. Or I actually keep a stash in my basement. I have this old scrapbooking, well, it's not scrapbooking. I have this old card file that I refurbished, and if you've followed along over these many years that I've crafted, you might remember, I think I even have a blog post. And maybe if I remember, I'll link it below, because it's an old card catalog that my hubby brought into the union for many years. He kept baseball cards in it, and then he decided he wasn't going to keep baseball cards in it, and it actually turns out to be a great craft storage. So I keep basically all the things that don't fit into the craft/dining room. I put into cold storage down in this cabinet. But there you go. Okay, so we've got the boop. Now I want to think for a second. I'm definitely going to be using some silver confetti. Oh, now that's the thing. Look at the difference between these. One is definitely more of a silver foil, which would really mirror this a little bit more clearly. So maybe I will do my silver foil, because I don't think I've used that yet. But I just want to glance through my sentiment strips and see if there's anything that I think would work with this. I have so many fun little sentiment strips, and I'm starting to move them all into these pockets so they're all at the same size. And then I have some in older pockets, and I like the black and white ones because I think it's really, I just think it's fun. I think Boop, A State of Mind, would be hilarious, because those of you who watch my channel, you know, that might make sense to you. Or sending you boop, wishing you boop. Oh, that's kind of fun. Or boop, do what makes you happy. Really, there's any number of ways I could go on this, and I don't know who I'm going to send this card to. Maybe it will be to my bestie. So I'm going to just dig through these, and I'll emerge with something. Let me think on this. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do boop, either just hope this card helps, or I'm here to support you. And then I'm going to take one of these, this is called Sassy Insides 2, and I'm going to probably put this in here. I'm here for all of it, girl. Or if I ever tell you that things happen for a reason, please punch me in the face, because I think that's funny. I'm going to send this to one of my besties who I love to remind her that I am here for her. So I'll go run this through my die cut machine, finish out the card, and we'll stamp the greeting. I'm going to go with, I'm here to support you. And I'm going to use my little baby trimmer here. It's my favorite little way to trim off a sentiment strip. I'm going to put it right there on the edge. Cut. Oh, I know you could do this by hand, but I'm one of these folks who can't cut anything by hand without it going completely askew. So I do this, and then look at that. Perfection. And of course, then I take my Copic T10 marker. Wait, which side do I want? Nope, not that side. I just like to color in the sides of my sentiment strip because they are printed on white cardstock. If you like it to look fancy, well, I don't know if it's fancy. It just makes it look like it's on black cardstock. And I have mentioned this in many videos, but I've had folks ask, well, why can't you just print these sentiments on black cardstock? Why the white cardstock? Well, because there's no such thing as white printing ink. You could never get something that was opaque enough in the printing process. So that's why they're called reverse. It is the absence of color. So we have to print these on white, and where you're seeing the black, that's the ink that prints. The beauty about these is they are also foilable. So you know what, as I see this, I think I'm gonna have to cut this down a little more because I'm gonna stack it. Love the way it's hitting on this, and I do want to have this be my greeting. So here's what you're gonna do. Gonna split that hopefully right down the middle. I'm here to, all right, let's see, can you see that? I'm gonna split it. Oh, Is that going to cut right? I hope it does. And cut. Now, where did it go? Okay, so it's very close to the edge. Might be a little too close. So I think I'm also going to have to trim a little more off each side, just so that it gives you more of that look of each one is equal. All right, get you right there, and just take a tiny bit off. Okay, now let's add a little more. I'll add a little more black, but now those can line up nicely on the card. I'm going to take the backers off here really quick. Grab a hold of this friend. I'm going to use a little of the liquid again just to create a little bit of a hydroplane effect on the sticky those things. This video is going on so long I don't even know what to call them anymore. And then we're just going to visualize side to side and boop, get it? Pop this so that it looks like it's basically in the center, right? Press that into place. I actually think I could bring in this guy just to double check if I were to go right along that. Yeah, that's pretty straight. Now I'll just come back and I'll add these. And I've got Derice strips on the back. Another little strip of glue just for that little bit of wiggle room. I'll pop you right here. I just like when you have a greeting, if you're going to pop up and over something, great. If you're not, you can cut your greeting into any way you think is going to work the best. Now let's make sure that's straight. Okay. So once I have the first one, repeat. Let's pop you from the bottom. I'm here too, and then just offset it a little bit like that. That just creates a nice little bit of balance. And that is straight. And how cute is that? Boop. Here to support you. So what I'm going to do here is, I could do this in my Misty, but I'm not going to because I try to practice my free range stamping. And I like to do this little friend. Get the Make Art Station out, right? Wipe that off. I'm going to open this up like that. And then, now I know there's a bit of shadow because there's so much light coming into this beautiful space today. But I'm going to just hold it open, right? Get a block. This is a block from Gina K Designs that I love to stamp with. And actually, I'm going to stamp, you never have to pretend everything's okay with me. I mean, you'd never pull it off. You're a terrible actor. I have 2 friends that these would work with any day of, well, actually, I have 4 that I could think of. But that's all good, right? All I'm going to do, I'm going to ink it up. This is just what I have on my table here. Some Gina K Designs black onyx. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'm getting it all over. Oh, look at that. Cathy's panicking because she's getting ink on her hands, and that is literally how well, that's how you screw the pooch. Okay, let's do it. I'm going to ink this up this way because I'm not sure. I haven't free range stamped in a while. And I don't think I'm going to test it. I think I'm just going to stamp it and hold my breath. Let it transfer. Don't get crazy. And lift. Oh, Cathy, that looks great. You'd never pull it off. You're a terrible actor. And if we're being honest, I'm just wiping this down. You know what else would be great to add in there? I'm here for all of it, girl. So I'm going to because, she's my girl. And it's the same font style. Let's drop it down first so that we can at least try to get it straight. Okay. And then, I don't know if this one will stamp as well, but we're going to try it. I'm here for all of it, girl. Like that. And that is the inside. I don't show the insides very often. I get questions like, Cathy, do you do the insides? The answer is yes, I do. I just wanted you to see what's going on the inside of this card that I will be sending as a little piece of paper support through the US mail. All right, so that's the inside. Now it's time to move on to the grand finale. We need some sequins, and we need them because how can you boop, right, without corresponding sequins? So why don't we go, do we want to go like that maybe? Now this is where you would think, well, Cathy, do you want to really go nuts with the boop? And I would argue no, you don't. Oh, there's one ready to go. No, you just kind of want to go how you need to go. And I'm going to do 5 beautiful silver sequins. Although, you know what? Here's the thing. It's more bottom heavy than top heavy. So now what I'm thinking is the extra sequin goes here and the lower one goes here. Does that make sense? Because you can see how there's more here. And so if we want to create a little more balance, right, we should probably put those extra sequins in the number 5 going up. And I don't think I'm gonna, well, I mean, I could, no, I don't want to tuck under. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I'm not feeling it today. So what we're gonna do, I'll just use the same glue here, although I don't usually do my sequins with this, so wish me luck. Pick you up and little glue. Boop. Boop. Picking you up, popping you down. Boop. Ah, beautiful. The sequin is perfect with that metallic cardstock. Boop, boop, boop. And the last one in the boop card is this. Boop. Here's the thing, and that's the finished card, and I am loving this. Here's the thing about boop. You know, if you're having fun while you're crafting, that is what boop represents to me. Boop represents a little bit of silly acknowledgement, a little fun. I love crafting. I love making. I love sharing what I create. And that's really what boop is about. It's not meant to be dumb. It's not meant to be silly. Check that out. Boop, right? And then, of course, got that awesome greeting on the inside. Probably could have stamped it a little higher. But you know what? This card, when it gets sent, it will be a boop of love. Thanks so much for watching today. All of the supplies that I used to create this card project can be found below the video in the description box. I appreciate you watching, and I will see you back here with another card project soon. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.